A major political scandal is unfolding in South Africa's capital, and it's raising serious questions about corruption, power, and accountability. Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya has taken decisive action, suspending senior city official Golofelo Morodi over allegations of leaking confidential tender documents. These claims, now linked to evidence before the Madlanga Commission, could point to possible interference in multi-million rand municipal contracts. And if proven, the implications could be far-reaching. What happened? Let's break this down. Golofelo Morodi, a key figure in the city of Tshwane's administration, is accused of sharing sensitive internal procurement documents with Tshwane Nkosi, a police sergeant who has been implicated in criminal activity. Now, according to testimony and evidence presented to the Commission, those documents were not just routine paperwork. They were tied to a land lease tender and a controversial security contract involving the Tshwane Metro Police. And perhaps most concerning, there are alleged WhatsApp conversations linking Morodi directly to these exchanges. Why this is serious? Here's what it means for South Africans. Public tenders are supposed to be fair, transparent, and competitive. But when internal documents are shared outside official channels, it creates the risk of tender manipulation. That means certain bidders could get an unfair advantage, and ultimately, taxpayers could lose out. Experts often describe this as one of the most damaging forms of corruption because it doesn't just waste money, it weakens the entire system of governance. Now, the mayor's response was swift. Her office confirmed that Morodi has been suspended with immediate effect, pending a full investigation. That decision sends a clear message that the city leadership is taking the allegations seriously and trying to prevent any possible interference with the investigation. In simple terms, this is about protecting the integrity of the process. But this story doesn't exist in isolation. It is part of a much bigger picture. The Madlanga Commission is currently examining allegations of corruption, political interference, and criminal networks linked to state institutions, and what's emerging from these hearings is deeply concerning. Evidence suggests that sensitive information may have been shared improperly, procurement processes may have been influenced, and institutional safeguards may have been bypassed. Experts warn this could point to systemic weaknesses, not just individual wrongdoing. Political response. The political response has been immediate. The party Action SA, which is linked to both the mayor and the suspended official, has publicly supported the decision. In fact, the party says it has launched its own internal investigation, and it's taking a firm stance, saying South Africans are tired of political parties that delay action or ignore serious allegations. That message is important because public trust in institutions often depends on how quickly and how transparently leaders respond. Understanding tender manipulation. Let's pause for a moment and explain something clearly. What exactly is tender manipulation? It's when someone interferes with a government contract process to influence who wins. This can happen in different ways: leaking confidential information, favoring certain companies, or coordinating outcomes behind the scenes. And here's why it matters. When tenders are manipulated, projects become more expensive, service delivery suffers, and corruption becomes entrenched. So this is not just about paperwork, it's about how public money is used. The role of law enforcement. Another critical issue in this case is the alleged involvement of a police officer. If these claims are proven, it raises serious concerns about the relationship between law enforcement and corruption networks, because police officers are supposed to protect the law, not be linked to potential violations of it. And when those lines are blurred, public confidence is deeply affected. Broader implications. This story reflects a bigger challenge facing South Africa: balancing governance, accountability, and public trust. Because when systems fail, the consequences are not just political, they are economic and social. For ordinary citizens, it means delayed services, poor infrastructure, and less value for public money. So what happens next? Several key developments are expected. findings from the Madlanga Commission, results from Action SA's internal investigation, and possibly criminal proceedings. For now, Kgolofelo Morodi remains suspended, and the investigation continues. As this story unfolds, one thing is clear. This is no longer just about one official. It's about the integrity of public institutions and whether systems designed to serve the people are being protected or compromised. The coming weeks could be critical because accountability is not just expected, it is demanded.